Live, the first trading day without the futures. I first want to just start out by thanking all of you for being here. I know sometimes it's not the easiest way to find me, or it's not the easiest thing to do to watch us on a Saturday morning when we have things we need to do. But I am eternally grateful for each and every one of you individually, whether you're in Tom's Army, whether you're just somebody who comes in here and comments and tries to help the community, or whether you're somebody who's just trying to learn. I'm here for all of you, as all of you are here for me, and I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. I want to be very straightforward this morning. Not a lot of joking around in the morning. Not yet. We can get into some joking around, but I want this positivity over negativity. I want us to look for opportunity, not look at the detriment. And I want us to take a profound focus on today's chart because we have a bit of it's not a dilemma, but it's going to tell us 100% what's going to come next. I think we did as a unit a spectacular job of calling this to buy before the breakout, telling us to take profit when we hit the top on Friday and letting it ride now because some things are down anywhere from 6 to 10% now from when it hit the top. XRP's not quite as bad. I know XDC's taking it on the chin this morning, another 4.3% down. HBAR's down almost 3.3%. XRP's come down from $1.45, so it's lost 6 cents, which isn't the end of the world, but that is about a 5.5% reversal. So it's about a 5% or so. So the key is held. I put it in my photo. We'll get into that, but the key is held in a very simple formation here. It's so simple. You don't have to get too afraid. Don't be alarmed. You don't even have to think so much. I'll show you exactly what to think. Not that you should listen to me because I'm not a financial advisor, but I think my track record speaks for itself. Good morning. 11:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, March 14th. 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan with a very solid viewer base, but a very hard base to find a new base because I don't get recommended. So my videos been struggling a little bit. The shorts do just fine. Lives have only been getting about 700 views, but in the moment in the lives, we've had over 100 people consistently. It's not being pushed out so much. So my main focus is to focus on the core that's in here, focus on the new members that might want to be an addition to the community, and try to just focus on who we have and be proud of the fact that we continue to grow. We continue to be spot on, but in a world when you're more right than wrong, and you don't push to the public perception or the public want, they tend to walk away. So that's the silver lining, is that I don't care about that. I'm focused on the core. I'm going to continue to tell you the truth and what's going to happen. And it's up to you to learn, listen, and adapt. I did a video yesterday that was about 13 minutes. I thought it was a freaking phenomenal video. A lot of good comments, had a lot of likes. It only got recommended by YouTube at a 1.1% clip. So the fact that 700 people found it, I thought was a miracle. So with no outward promoting by YouTube. Oh, and there's another thing that's going to irritate us all. YouTube updated their terms of services. Now you're going to see ads even if I don't turn them on. They said YouTube now can do ads on videos and lives and shorts, even if the creator doesn't turn it on in lieu to create more revenue while revenue is down, which is whatever. It is what it is. And I'm going to get annoyed every time it comes across my tablet when I'm trying to watch this and it happens. So that's just what's going on, and that you're gonna have to deal with that across YouTube. They changed their terms of services, so now even if you don't turn ad revenue on, they reserve the right to do ads when they find the profitable. So I'm sure during the live you're gonna see an ad every now and then now, which is it is what it is. So I want to stay positive. That was something that really bothered me when I read it last night. If you're a creator on YouTube, go into your email and go read that because it's quite frustrating. Because why should they be able to do ads if you don't want them? I understand they have a platform. I understand that they have, they work with Google ads and things like that. But I don't think it's appropriate if you don't want it on. But hey, I guess I signed up for that being on the YouTube platform. So it is what it is. We'll deal with it. And if you guys choose to leave, I mean, I don't blame anybody for leaving. I'd prefer for you to stay, but if that's your prerogative. But anyhow, XRP, here's the simple part of this. I created an image. I thought it was spot on. It talks about how we have a resistance wall at $1.40 that we have to get past. You see the bulls and the bears fighting with the people on the way up, and the bear's a little bit bigger because of the side of town we're on. We have a resistance there. We have a support at $1.36, which is the symmetrical triangle. And if it breaks that, you have the potential downside vortex where that critical point if it's broken. I think this sums it up pretty well. I'm trying to do a much better job with imagery to relate to you in real time. So even before I say anything, and you don't even need to look at the title, you'll be able to see. So I really thought this morning we would start to head down, or this weekend would try to attempt to push down towards that symmetrical triangle support. I think that's the key to this pattern, because we broke out of a descending wedge, and this chart doesn't show it as good because I didn't draw on this symmetrical triangle, but the other chart does. I drew it in on, which one was it? I think I skipped past it on accident. Oh yeah, I put it in the futures. So the futures, and it's interesting because we're not going to be able to see this in real time, but it's down at, on the futures, it's $1.34. So it could even break down past $1.36. So we do have to pay attention to that. I'm going to have to draw the symmetrical triangle into the, it's funny because the right shoulder, how it went shoulder, head, shoulder, actually drew out a perfect descending wedge on its own. If you notice that with the way, with the appearance of just the lines. But now we do have that symmetrical triangle that it's going to hold the key here. It really is. And let me just draw this out real quick on a, actually, I don't want to do it on this chart because I don't want to lose the representation, but we had the descending wedge breakout here. And then you'll be able to see the, I'll draw the symmetrical triangle in here, and then we'll adapt to it tomorrow night, and we'll look at the symmetrical triangle that's in the futures, because that price is always slightly different. See if it even has the same visual representation here. It might not, because that, no, it's still symmetrical. Never mind. Even if you do it this way, yeah, this is why the $1.34 is so important. So we had support, kind of not even support, because I put it below. Here, let me try something. These are so tricky. Because I do feel like it's setting up something like that. Now, we could come a little bit farther, and this actually, you know what? This actually makes it a little bit trickier outside of the futures. Hold on, I'm trying to make this exact. Actually, I'll do it in the 4-hourly. 4-hourly will give us a little. Well, actually, it's about the same. This makes it slightly different, though, if you're not in the symmetrical and the futures. Yeah, that's actually, it's not $1.36. The drawdown's $1.34. I don't know why I put $1.36 in the image. It's actually $1.34. Look at me screwing it up this morning. Whoops. It's actually $1.30. No, it isn't. $1.36. I am not wrong. Not yet. But then on the futures, it's $1.34 and some change. But this isn't, technically, that's not, I don't know if I'd call it a descending wedge, but that certainly doesn't look like a symmetrical triangle on this chart. On the futures chart, it's absolutely a symmetrical triangle. I might have to go farther back in the pattern to represent this the proper way, actually. Now that I'm looking at it. So I'm trying to do it in the real time, but I might have to go farther back to represent this properly. Like, we might have to come back here. No. You know what? Yeah, I do like that, actually. Because this is where this, I don't know if we should use this chart. Yeah, we should use this chart, though, but I want to keep everything up here. I just don't want to make it too noisy. But you know what? Sometimes noise is good, because then you can see all the variables at play. So we came up, had support tap, came through, back tested, held the symmetrical, or the descending wedge, came back up in the symmetrical formation on the breakout. I actually do like that. You know what? I do like that a lot, because that is that's encapsulating the symmetrical triangle that's formed. And we knew yesterday when we put that spinning top in that it could be a problem It was going to be validated, either confirmed or denied here. Another spinning top here. All that means is the buyers and sellers are exhausting themselves. And technically, when that happens, it's usually the signs of a trend reversal. This is the candle that really you never want to see. I'll explain why in a sec. But this is the candle after a push up and then another tap higher. You never want to see this. This is considered a spinning top with it pointed down. Actually, well, yeah, I mean, it is a spinning top. Just like these are all spinning tops. It's just the direction. So it had the wick up. That little wick pointing down is critical. It's almost like an engulfing to the downside, although it's not engulfing, but it pulled it all the way back. And then the next couple of candles define it. So 1, 2, and then the third one, these are all almost, they're not quite strong enough. And then this created another spinning top with a little angle up, but now it's starting to push down. So we need to really see if this breaks down, and it's actually in real time. Could that be $1.35-ish? Let's see right now. Yeah, $1.35.35 in real time actually does make a lot of sense. And this is just the consolidation on the breakout. So if we're going to have a continuation, we're just going to have to make sure we hold this pattern. That's all. It's all this is saying. It's not trying to scare anybody. It's just a visual representation of what we need to hold. And then the reason why I drew this shorter one out initially is because this is where the pattern broke out into like this right shoulder. And then you have to be honest with yourselves. Like, is it creating a pattern that can hold? So there is the $1.35 underneath, but if we use this kind of a setting, you could technically find yourself in a multi-layered dimensional cluster, you know what, here. But this is the pattern we need to hold. After a push out of the descending wedge, if we hold this pattern setup, $1.35.35 at worst. So we're going to keep that, actually. I'm going to keep this. And if it holds $1.35, and it'll probably move up as the days go on, and it'll make it $1.36 in time at the back end. Where would $1.36 be? Just out of curiosity. That would get you into, I don't know if it would take until Friday, but I guess Friday it could get up there. Whoops. But this is what we're dealing with right now. And this is a perfect rendition. So you can see if it breaks down from here, we're going to have no choice but the first area is going to be like $1.23 approximately. Let's take a look. You definitely don't want to be dealing with that one if you don't want it to go all the way down. This is the all-time cup and handle. We have a bearish liquidity sweep as of right now. Yeah, we really need to hold these areas. Otherwise, we could find a little bit of anxiety. Couldn't get past liquidity zones. But yeah, let's just focus on this chart. And then if it breaks down from here, yeah, there's that mid-tier support. But in real time, it's no longer at $1.32. It's all the way down here. It could come to like $1.23. Actually, if it's in real time, it would be, let's just say Sunday, March 15th. If it breaks down, though, I'm not sure this would hold. But we'll see. So that's basically your gatekeeper right there. Can it hold that little symmetrical triangle that's formed and hold the integrity at it? We'll call it $1.35 and give it a little more breathing room. Since on the futures chart, it is $1.34. On that chart, it's $1.35. So we'll just give it that breathing room under $1.36. Just so we don't have an overzealous, an overzealousness. Gus, live chat is not blank. There's many of comments. You need to refresh your screen, I'm assuming. I've got lots of comments on here. I just haven't gone through them yet. Gus Santos. I would reset it. I would definitely reset it. Good morning, Poppy, Lou, and Dan Marginal. Thanks for being in Town Zone for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, along with William Hayes. Michael, good morning. Jamie McKinney. Dayona Crazy, thanks for being in Town Zone 3+ months with the XP Meteor, along with Bearded Viking. James Wise gets a gifted sub, and thanks for being in Town Zone 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Joseph Euler, thanks for over 1 year at the I Told You So Badge and gifting a sub this morning. How awesome is that? That is super generous. Super, super generous. David Winton, welcome in. Gus, Standard Works, Biotech, thank you so much. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Town Zone for over 2 years with the XP 589 Moon Badge, along with 2 Ravens. Big Dog, Dan Marginal, thanks for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Knick Knack Paddywhack, welcome in. Michael, good morning. Red Lot, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Michael Orzalso, Matthew Ramelli, welcome in. Thank you all so much. Dave for Mix, thanks for 2nd month with the Dust Settles Crypto News. MQT, welcome in. And thanks for 3+ months with the XP Meter. Very trusted mod and does a lot of good technical work. I love it. I love it. Gus is good now. Excellent here, Gus. Thank you for resetting or refreshing. Train, good morning. Anthony Venegas, welcome in. The Captain, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. So we'll continue on this. I just want to grab my mail. All right, thank you for your patience. So that is really what we're dealing with now. Working now, so I'll have to rewatch in a few. Oh, be safe at work, my friend. I hope the work day goes by pretty quickly. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And also a very trusted mod in here. Timothy, welcome in. Bearded Viking, we continue to pray for Mighty Marcus as he fights the good fight, that he has this good healing. And it's the painless route. We want the painless route. No matter the outcome, we want the best outcome possible, but I prefer for him to be in as little pain as possible. And the sanctity for you and your wife as well. Amen. Bad Guy, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. So what we're talking about here very firmly, one, we have a bearish rejection zone that we could not get over. We're back into this liquidity box. We still have an inverse pattern, created a little bit of a reversal here. But it really needs to hold the symmetrical area. I like what, who said the $1.18? That is a very defined area if we fall below here. Very defined area. Yeah, biotech. I like that $1.18 area. If it breaks past there, it's going to be a really, it's going to make it very interesting because then you bring back up that $1.11. That was the low support on the latest drop that we bounced back from, and we're able to go from $1.11 to $1.65. But now we've been ranging. So I went to $1.65, back down into the mid to high 120s, back up into the 150s, back down into the low 130s, back up into the mid 140s, now back down into the high 130s. So we're consolidating. We're definitely crunching. So this is a very, very important moment. This is a very important moment for XRP. Whether we're going to take that downward route or we're still going to be able to break out to a wavy expansion. So every day is just as important as the last. It's just we have different information every single day. Today's going to have different information than yesterday. It's building off of it, but the overall objective, and Carl, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. What a beautiful person you are, my friend. It's been nice getting to know you in the classes, honestly, in the live classes. Deeper getting to know you to see what your strengths and weaknesses are as well. But in the all-time pattern, if you're new, we have an all-time cup and handle. We have an all-time cup and handle. And what this represents is the all-time consolidation. The beauty of it is, for anybody who's new, and if you're not, just remember this. This is your silver lining. We have a descending wedge on the handle. And for anybody who doesn't know the descending wedge, I think it's in my best interest to speak of it so that you can actually see what it looks like, what it means, the feel. Some call it a falling wedge. I like descending wedge. Well, in this case, I think descending wedge. A falling wedge has more of an opening on the end. They're both essentially the same thing, but the descending wedge, in my opinion, it tightens into a triangle at the end. The falling wedge still has a bit of a gap at the end. It still forms a similar style looking triangle. They're both bullish consolidations. But there's always these points of contention. So how do we get down there? What do we need to do? You know, do we need to come down to 86.6 cents or do we need to come down to 56? We have a little confluency with the descending triangle that was formed that has a technical target of 86.6 that we have just not been able to break. So we do have some points of contention here. And they're typically bullish. The descending wedge pattern is considered bullish as it emerges after a bearish trend. It signifies a shift in control from bulls to bears, leading to lower lows in price, but at a slower pace, indicating a potential change in market sentiment. So, and you can see how they look. You can see how a descending wedge looks. You see a few different ways. I don't really like the way that looks. It's kind of thin to try to teach somebody it. They're not going to really know what's going on. Um, but it's definitely a very bold. This is a better one. I like these like this. Notice how it's got a couple hits on each side. Technically, it has a third hit. They just didn't mark it for some reason, which doesn't make any sense. But because the top part did have a third hit, they just didn't circle it. But that's the descending wedge. That's a descending wedge, falling wedge, call it however you want. But in my opinion, the way this is set up, it's a descending wedge. Now, do you have to come down a third time? I mean, it's up to your interpretation, but I like to have 3 hits on each side. So resistance 1, resistance 2, resistance 3, support 1, support 2. It'd be perfect to have support 3 sometime by the end of the month, especially if we break down the 200 day. But that doesn't mean that we can't have a short-term breakout into this $1.70 area, which is another resistance it could hit. You want to be about 70% of the move, which would bring us out into June in an appropriate area. So 70% of the move is typically what you're gonna you're typically going to find that about 70% of the move you start to break out of the patterns, or it goes out to the apex. Anything before is usually a fake out or a fake breakdown. But it can go all the way out here into August. And with the political realm that we're in the United States, with the elections, which I'm not going to pay any attention to because they're useless. The right and left are just both arms of the central bank, which is our Fed. So, they get the retail to bicker, piss, and moan with each other instead of facing facts, the reality of the circumstance. So don't get caught up in that mumbo jumbo if you want to actually do something successful with your life. You get too caught up with politics, it's going to put you into a downward spiral. Then you're going to get on psychotropics, and then you're not even going to be able to think for yourself, and that's their plan. Don't do that. Do the opposite of what everybody else does, and you're going to be successful. I guarantee it. So now, with the political realm, does it mean that they're going to drive it down until August, get us down into below 60 cents, into that 55 to 57 cent range? And then if we were to go up to $6, which was the first technical target would be $3.48. Unless it goes to the apex, then it'll be like $3.25, $3.30. The overall target will always remain $6.41 unless this all-time cup and handle is invalidated, which I highly doubt it's going to be. Because if it does, that's a bigger indictment on crypto as a whole. But it's definitely giving us an outlook of what's to come. It's also telling us that we must be careful in every single swing trade we make or trade we make in the short term. There's always money to be made. We made good money, not even this week. From the buy-in on Wednesday, I believe it was, to the sale on Friday, it was a very simplistic hold. I think Thursday even we could have bought in. I think we talked about it Thursday when it made the drop to $1.37 and universally on the other charts. And then 2 weeks ago, we had a similar swing trade from different levels, and then it completely poured right back out because we're in a bear market right now. So you're supposed to, I know the fancy thing to say is buy and hold forever. I know everybody says it doesn't matter where you buy. It's a matter of how long you're willing to hold. I think that's all tomfoolery. I think that's sabotaging retail. What are they going to tell you when they're getting paid by the big guys to tell you and mislead you? Because the central banks, the market makers, the institutional investors need retail to be their exit liquidity, because when they put in so much money, they need somebody to flip the capital. Well, if retail is going to continuously buy and then sell the tops, how are they going to get exit liquidity? How are they going to have market functionality? How are they going to keep even money in the market if it's in a bona fide bear market, unless they convince retail that you're supposed to be a hodler? The most famous ridiculous term in the history of crypto, hodl. Hodl. How many people have been hodling since 2017 on XRP and are down 50%? Anybody in the audience? How many people hodled when they were up 500-600% just to be down now? It's okay to say it because these are big learning experiences. And my job here is to teach you not to be an everyday trader like the rest of retail. My job here is to make sure that you're part of the 5 out of 100 that actually make a profit in retail. That's my job, and I take it very seriously. I might rub feathers the wrong way. I might ruffle you a little bit. I might piss you off. I might make you piss and moan. But guess what? In that pissing and moaning, you have to acknowledge the truth. Your exit liquidity, unless you play it properly. I can see you, Alec. Alec, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP predictor. I love that. I love that you tested it out. I can definitely see you. And your new handle is Alec Bad Guy. Excellent. I remember you said you were going to create it. That is cool to see in real time. I think you said it in our last live that you were going to switch it. That is cool to see it in real time. Rudy, time to buy, not exactly. There was a time to buy last Thursday at $1.37 for the move up to $1.45, but now you've got to rewatch this again. You need to rewatch to see if we get the bona fide breakout out of the symmetrical triangle, and then we'll find our way another opportunity. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep taking advantage of these opportunities as they come. You know, it's up to my audience to do as they see fit. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can help you in the right direction. It's not by accident that we can get in, get out, get back, and get, you know, that kind of stuff. Let's see. Picking. That was me. Now I'm in Tom's class. Excellent. I love that. Thank you, William, so much for that show of support. You know, some people will leave, but that's okay. If they don't want to hear the core message, they're not going to be able to be successful in a bear market. You know, and that's okay. I'd rather tell the truth and have people leave than lie to you and have a bunch of people. That's just the bottom line. And I'm never going to change my tune. So if I'm stuck at 49,700 subscribers for the rest of the time, I have the greatest core members that you could ever have. On top of that, I get a few new people every day that are really awesome that end up being a part of the core. And if I can talk to 90 people at a minimum, 100 people, 70 people, and then when we get into bona fide bull markets when I'm actually bullish and people start coming in, because you see what happens every cycle, because I go with the pattern. I'm not bearish on purpose. I'm just bearish because we're in a downtrend. But we also have presented opportunity for free for a lot of people over the last week. A lot of people made a lot of good money last week, and they already secured their profits until they can see the next move. And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do in a bear market. Now, you can continue to add on, but then you end up being exit liquidity normally. Right now, it's already dropped down 4.3% in real time from the top. And now, this all-time cup and handle, though, folks, this is what you need to know. Just because I'm bearish in the moment, this is no different than how I sounded in 23. This is no different than how I sounded in 21. But in 21 and 23 in bear markets, you're allowed, when you're at the bottom of the bear market, to buy and hold. Buy and hold. But the technical target right now that tells us where you can start buying and holding is not until 86 cents. David Witten says, stupid word in philosophy. I don't know what that means. If you don't like facts, well, I guess I'm just a fucking idiot. William, not picking. Let's see. Smash the like and let's bring that number. Let's see. I'm trying to type Viking. Some have been in since 2021. Some have been in since 2019. So, I mean, tell me what's stupid about it. What, David? You don't like to make 5, 6, 700%, take it all, and then buy it back cheaper than you sold out and had your average before? I don't know what's stupid about it. I know a lot of the XRP community likes to be exit liquidity, but that's fine. That's okay. I'm just trying to help you. If you think I'm stupid, you're probably down right now. It is what it is. We all have our own philosophy. I'm just trying to teach you how to be a profitable trader. It's called investing, not funding. We're not funding anybody. We're investing in our futures. How are you going to invest in your future if you never take profit? Oh, the hodl. Oh, that makes sense. But the point remains. I'm sure somebody's thinking it anyhow. But yeah, I get that. The hodl term. You think I got it wrong. Well, maybe. I got you, David. I see what you're saying. Stupid is the hodl term. I got you. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. I'm sorry. I got confused with the comments. But I was just trying to speak in a perspective here about, you know, the philosophy that we end up being the funders for, you know, I don't want to make this negative, but we sometimes it makes you negative, though, when you're trying to speak so bluntly. Because I think it's an important topic, so sometimes I think I come out too strong whenever I try to talk like that. So I apologize, my bad. But the point remains the same. We don't want to be funding the ventures for the big companies. They don't need our money. They've got plenty of money. We don't want to be Ripples, funders. We want to be investing in our future. That's why I so hate that hodl term so much. Because I think it gets so many people trapped. And then it keeps us from succeeding. I know for a fact Because I used to be like that when I was in my investing days before I started to understand. I really was. Um, but yeah, sorry, David. Shouldn't have been directed at you. But you're definitely yeah, you definitely understand what I'm saying. Thanks, Red. I know it's called Passion Bearded Viking, but sometimes I gotta keep it under control. See, when I was raised, my dad, when he raised me, all he did was yell. He didn't understand because he's a hard-blooded Italian because my raised by my grandpa. Um, but and he came from Italy on the boat, and he had to deal with Mussolini giving away to his people to the Nazis, and then a lot of my family got killed off in it. Anyhow, so that's that. So sometimes I gotta control it because my dad didn't teach me how to keep your composure, nor did my mom. They were both very hot-blooded yellers, and they still are. Um, but let's see. What is HODL? Okay, so HODL, it's HODL, they call it. And basically, HODL means you buy anywhere and you never sell. Um, who said that? Alec, it's basically HODL, which just means you're holding forever, you're hodling. So even if you bought it and it's going down 75%, they say hodl. Keep buying it all the way down. But guess what? You don't want to buy a dip until it's the dip. Otherwise, you're buying the exit liquidity strategy. So basically, yeah, like Ruby Brain said, it's basically hold on for dear life. Hold on for dear life. I think David's a little behind us. Smack, have a blessed weekend as well. Really appreciate that. Right now in the 4-hourly, XRP still showing too much wick to the downside. We're inside of this liquidity box again. The volume, though, the good thing about the volume coming into the weekend, and this was the futures, I believe. Is this the futures chart? No. Futures closed at $1.40. What the heck chart did I have? I want to make sure I go back to that one. I don't think it matters which. Oh, yeah, it does, because this volume is actually increasing on this chart. This chart, the volume is continuing to go down. So on a correction with the volume coming down, with the volume coming down, this is showing us that we're kind of drying up a little bit on this particular chart. But I'm seeing it's interesting because we're not seeing a lot of follow-through volume to the downside. We did create a little bit of a gap here with the close on Friday. With the close on Friday at $1.40 and some change. So that's Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the futures, but that could just leave a gap that needs to be filled later. And we won't know yet. So we won't know that yet. So right now we do have this liquidity box that is still very much in play. That head and shoulders pattern still has not been invalidated. And we're below this little bit of a liquidity. We created a gap that we put up here, and then it ended up filling it out. But it couldn't get over the 200 days. So we're still very much in a dilemma moment. Because we're below that bearish confirmation zone, which that always continues to be a problem until it's taken care of. We can delete this because that was our short-term move out to $1.39, which was from 2 weeks ago, and then it filled out. We've got a small bit of an uptrend here that could be starting from that swing low. And that puts us at about $1.36 on that uptrend. So we're really meeting. A lot of these points are meeting. There's a lot of points of contention, but if the futures was open, we'd be focused on that chart. Particularly, if the futures was open, this would be the chart we'd be focused on. But because the futures is closed, we want to focus on a couple different things. Probably not this one. But, I mean, you could. I would, man, we're stuck in between a lot of areas right now. That's the one problem. We can't get out of our own way right now for XRP. It's just, as of right now, we're not able to get out of our own way, which is, it's incredible. Really is. We're in an incredible spot right now. But for the symmetrical triangle we're in, if you're trying to watch it right now, this is what we need to do. This is the area that we need to watch. You know what the problem with retail is right now? Not everybody cares when it's in the bear market. They only come back when it looks like a bullish cycle is happening or when it's already too late. Like we make our money in the bear market. We make the money in the bear market, and it's hard for retail, and I get it. I really do get it, because how many people really want to be here when everything keeps going down? Every time you buy it and it goes up, it just comes right back down. That's the value of understanding a bull versus the bear market. It's such a good value to have. I'm going to turn the comments off for just a minute because I don't want to see how many people are coming in and out, because sometimes I'm very hard on myself and I get discouraged when I see 20% of the people leave or 15% of the people leave simply because you're trying to speak factually. Like if I came on here and I caressed everybody, everybody would stay, and that's kind of, it hinders retail though. Everybody tells you what you want to hear. You need somebody who's going to tell you what you need to hear, It's the bottom line. Sometimes it's hard to be the guy out on his own. But you know what? Everybody, there's always got to be a loner out there. Just the way it goes. I feel very alone in this space. Not by my community, but by other influencers that will repeat the same truth. It's a very lonely and cold world out here, let me tell you. A lot of ridicule. A lot of good times, but a lot of ridicule. But only the strongest can handle it. And you're only given what you can handle. That's a fact. So I can handle it. Just a gut punch. And then I got to try to speak to you, not at you and with you and not against you, you see? So, this is on Bitcoin. Broke out of a small symmetrical triangle. Broke out very early, though. I mean, very early. That's the one problem. It broke out so early. But the 4-hourly's corrected a lot now. Is it possible Bitcoin can hold? I do feel like it needed to come back down to 69K one more time to validate, but can it? This is the gatekeeper right now. We've got 4-hourly golden cross that was formed, but the candle right now, you had a spinning top on the formation, which means the bulls and bears are still fighting, still fighting. This third candle, if it makes a new low and closes, that means we're going to continue down. See this spinner? If we create a new low, but we still have 3 hours and 53 minutes, we have to close below 70,500. That would be a bearish confirmation to come back down and probably retest this at 69.9. Man, this is great how this looks. Honestly, this is great what Bitcoin did. It's not making us guess. Look at this. It's not making us guess at all. This is phenomenal. Now, could we come down like this? I suppose, but I don't like it. I don't think. No, I don't. I don't like it. Because if we go way down there, then we just ignore this support level that's here at 69 and some change. Can't do it. I think it would be inappropriate. So yeah, this would be the first layer, and then if it breaks below that, then all of a sudden if it's below 69.9 roughly, 69.8 if it takes longer. Depends how long it takes. If it drags out to Tuesday, it could be 69.1. But if it holds this, then you have a bona fide movement up, and we can give you the technical target. However, 70% of the move isn't until like next week. 10 days from now would get us you to 70% of the move, and that's down at 66. This is going to be very interesting. I'm going to measure it from here because I need to move that up just a little bit. So if it breaks out and holds it from here, we're looking at 77. We're looking at 77. I like that a lot because that's the symmetrical triangle out of that channel breakout. And that's for Bitcoin. So until it's not, Bitcoin is the gatekeeper for the rest of crypto. It's just like gold is the gold mining stocks, or silver is the silver miners, or platinum is the platinum miners, or how oil is for the exploration oil stocks and things like that. They're still the gatekeeper. You need them to give you direction until they don't. And until we stop using Bitcoin as a Ponzi, which is going to take a very long time, once enough of the world's trapped in by businesses and institutions and retail, they don't even care about retail. Retail only makes up 5% of the equation. It is what it is. We have 5% impact on the market, as where the central banks have over an 80% impact. Which means if a price is at $1, the central banks can move it anywhere from $1 to $1.80 or $1 to 20 cents. For the market makers, they've got about a 35% impact, which they can move it from $1 to $1.35 or $1 to 65 cents. The institutional investors, I'm going to have to move everybody. Hold on, I got to move. One sec. Sorry, my son's out there and I don't want to bother him and irritate him too much. I'm closing it out right now. So the institutional investors can do about 60%. So they can move it from $1 to $1.60 or $1 to 40 cents. But retail only has a 5% equate. Move it to $1.05 or 95 cents. But that's all the viability that we have. That's all we can basically equate to. We can't do, I don't want that light on. We can't do anything more. So when you look at it from a perspective, we have to realize that we don't command a lot of attention. You know, we don't do it. Tom is seriously the only channel that I have found that actually teaches people what to look for in the charts. Everyone else just says, oh, buy this. And it also hurts me when influencers do that because I get labeled into that. And then when people see me, they go, oh, well, everybody else is saying it's going to do this. It's like, well, congratulations. Everybody else is wrong. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Noob Sauce, thanks for that. And thanks for being in town on 3+ months with the XP meter. I really appreciate that. Yeah, MQI, I tend to agree with that because we have a big liquidity area around 80K on Bitcoin, and we need to retap. Still, we need to retap this area we broke down from, and that's around 81. But I would, right now, though, if we can hold this, the 4 hours dumped way back down. Bitcoin came from 74 back to around 70K right now. So when you understand the market makers and the institutional investors and retail, the institutional investors are in charge of making and directing market makers and retail. The market makers are in charge of directing retail. You're only in charge of the categories below you, which means the central banks at the end of the day are controlling every other facet. So you might think as retail, we move the market, yeah, by a minuscule 5% ratio. So for example, XRP is at $1.38. We might be able to move it to $1.44, $1.45, or $1.32 area. That ain't nothing. That's just picking off liquidity. They direct us in the way they want us to move. But the faster and the more we understand this, we're supposed to be the plankton. We're not supposed to work against the institutions or the central banks or the market makers. We're supposed to take the breadcrumbs and we're supposed to ride their coattails. So that's what we're trying to do here each and every day. And yeah, it's going to rub some people the wrong way because who wants to hear the truth? Everybody just wants to think they're going to be millionaires overnight. That's why the channels that get the most viewers for XRP are the ones that tell you it's going to $10,000. Difference for central banks. That's a huge distinction. Global liquidity and the digital dollar and the new dollar are two different things. But I got to tell you the truth. I got to tell you the truth. Otherwise, no one's going to. And then you're going to be stuck here and stuck everywhere in the wrong spot. So someone's got to do it. Someone had to sign up for the job. I don't know if I necessarily signed up for it, but just by nature, I guess I did. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted member in here in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And Janine, I hope you're having a blessed morning, love. So glad to see you guys in here this morning. I know it's very difficult to get into these, especially, it's been pretty busy. I've had a disaster I have to deal with on my house. My roof caved in on the outer side of it. Well, I mean, it didn't cave into my house, but it definitely buckled. We had a bad windstorm. We had some crazy weather this winter, and it got to my roof, so I had to make a claim. I got a company coming out on Monday to look at it, assess the damages, and let me know the options, because I'm going to have to replace the roof. But then I also made an insurance claim because they're going to pay for it. And that's just how it's going to be. I have to pay a $2,500 deductible, but it's going to be better. I also ripped my gutters off my house, so they're basically hanging there. My shutters, my gutters, everything. It's a pretty violent storm. Pretty violent storm. But hey, if you're going to have to replace the roof, it's better to be able to, you know, pay the deductible and stuff and have it happen during a storm, in my opinion. I seen a Juan in here as well. Juan, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XB589 Moon Badge. Says, have you been watching the DXY lately weekly? It seems to me wants to push up. Absolutely. I've talked about this, that we're going to have one last outgasp because the U.S. has no choice but to make things look better than they are so people don't dump the U.S. dollar during the time of war. Absolutely. I brought this up a long time ago, in fact. And now it's actually playing out. I mean, if YouTube, or I mean, if this happens, we talked about the retest. First area was to come up here to 10, around 101. That would be the back test breakdown. But if it got back within here, they hold no bounds. They could bring it back up to 105. I expected a retap at about 101, personal expectation, and then probably a complete breakdown. That was my own expectation because you're going to want to retest that pattern formation on the breakdown. So, but it's a good way to keep people in the market too with the US dollar because a lot of countries are dumping and they're trying to go against the US dollar, which eventually will happen. Did anybody notice the inverted yield curve on the 10-year? Even though rates were knocked down and stayed the same, what's the, because they have a, it's not the truth, but I need to know what they are saying. And this would be your savings rate. 3.5 to 3.75% is a federal funds rate. Yet, so that's what you can get in your savings account. Just hear me out. That's what you can get in your savings account. But if you do a 10-year loan, right now, they're going to get charged 4.28%. Pretty insane if you ask me. If you get a house, you know, it's gone up 0.5%. If you need credit, it's gone up 0.5%. Let's see. There's been a lot. There's been a lot this morning. Definitely a lot this morning. Good stuff. The biggest thing you missed is two things. One, XRP's formed a very apparent symmetrical triangle. And it's going to have to hold this aforementioned pattern. What the hell? It's going to have to hold this at about $1.35 if it comes down there to not break down any further. And Bitcoin's back testing a breakout of its own symmetrical triangle. It's actually at the back test right now. So XRP $1.35. But Bitcoin's at the back end of its symmetrical triangle. Here, let's go to the other chart. That's the liquidity zone. So if it holds roughly 69 and some change, the technical move up would be around 77K. So this is what we're going to watch this weekend to see if this holds. However, it did break out awfully quickly. We never had a third hit of support. It broke out about 40% of the move in, not 70%. So a lot of times these are fake outs. But what we'll see. We'll see exactly how this ends up playing out in time. Noob Sauce, thank you so much for not only being in Tom's Army for your third month, plus with the XRP Meteor, but gifting a sub goes to Gary Outdoors Living. Excellent. Gary, welcome into Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. What a beautiful group we have in here. This is a very supportive group. Gotta spread the word. What does that say? Gotta spread the word. I learned so much here. I appreciate that. Hey, that's all I try to do. I try to teach the truth so you can stay on all I care about. MQ says, I'm noticing the internal range sweeps are not producing the strength needed to for full reversals to downside yet. Absolutely. That is a great comment, MQ. Yeah, the downside pull has not been very strong. We haven't had a lot of volume to follow through. Look how low the volume is going right now for Bitcoin. That's a sign of exhaustion in the 4-hourly with that volume continuing to come down. We had increasing pull here on the way up. So on the way up, this is what you want to see on a consolidation back down to have a continuation up. So on the way up, you had volume going up. On the way down, you have volume crashing. That's a recipe for bullish continuation after this little exhaustion of the downside finishes. We don't mess around, only honest facts here. Absolutely, Frankie. It's clam bellies. Janine knows that as well. His significant other. Beautiful, beautiful people. Two people that I would really like to sit down with one day and just sit around the fire and just talk. And I think there's so many people in here I can say that about. But those are two, and for sure. But does that make sense with the volume, the way it's moving? Tom's Army is like the Spartan 300. Yeah, yes, indeed. But it takes a very select group that has a very select mindset that's going to stick around. For every 50 people that come in here, 35 leave. That's just an honest truth I have to be honest with myself about. For every 50 people that come in, only 15 stay. But that's by design because most of the others are the traditional retail. It is what it is. Nobody wants to hear the good news. They don't want to hear the truth. They come in here and they hear me talk about what's happening, and then they go, "Oh, well, fuck this guy. He's not saying it's going to 10,000, or Bitcoin's not going to 1,000,000." Whoops, sorry about that. But I did just tell you the genuine facts when 20 people left, ironically, about the exact pattern formation that you need to watch for Bitcoin, the exact pattern formation you need to watch for XRP. You know, so at least I have solace in that. Mark Caston, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. I love it. Bright future, freedom. Have a great weekend. Yeah, I've only got a few minutes left here as well. I'm going to watch Michigan at 1 o'clock. They're playing Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament semifinals. We barely beat Ohio State. I knew it was going to be a good game yesterday. It's kind of hard to beat the same team 3 times in 1 year. Can't think of a better team to beat 3 times than Ohio State, even though I respect them because they make us better, especially in football. Their basketball is coming on a little bit lately, too. But they'll be in the tournament. 1970 Legends will have fun watching them in the tournament. XDC down 4.1%. Let's see how this is set up before we leave. Brutal. Looks really brutal right now. Had a rising channel. Actually, you know what? Was it a rising channel that it broke down? Or was it more of a... Let's see, we'll find this out for real. Could have been a rising wedge, actually. Now that I look at it. Oh, yeah, this was a bona fide rising wedge. So unlike a descending triangle, or a descending wedge, this was a rising wedge, it looks like. Those are bearish. Bearish for consolidation. Could have been like this too, actually. This is probably the best way to show it. But these are bearish reversals in the making. Sometimes they break up, but most of the time they'll break down. Also, it looks like a head and shoulders form there as well. So if it wants to come all the way back down, I mean, Jesus. That would invalidate that structure if it comes all the way back down, and then you wouldn't get that C wave gap up. So we'll see how this plays out. Right now, we're at the real support now, though. So after the breakout of this pattern consolidation, that looked more like a wedge. More like a descending wedge here. If we look at it. It was more of a descending wedge. Now it's just back testing the breakout, in my opinion. Let's see. What happened here? See, I got to remember, sometimes when I look on my phone, it screws it all up, unfortunately. So then we're looking to see if this meets there on the back test and it creates that new outer layer. And then it could make a move out like this. But it's going to have to hold this structure and integrity. If it holds this, this could be considered some kind of a back test here. As it's tapping the support again. But if it loses this, it would be a bona fide breakdown. Easy go, Bucks. Yes, 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 1970 Legend. Welcome in, my friend, the fellow Buckeye, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. It was a great game, though. It's a good game. Yaxel Lendenberg had his worst game of the season, so you can hold your hat high. He's the Big Ten Player of the Year. And he played like squadouche. Let's see. What else? Pretty much done, honestly. Pretty much done. 30% of the people have already left. So I guess I shouldn't have said that I was getting ready to leave. Well, that's probably just because they hate me anyhow. Let's be honest. People don't like me that much unless they're in my core. The new people don't really like me until they've been around for a little bit. Then they're like, oh, well, at least he's telling the truth and we know what's going to happen. I'm okay with being honest with myself. I'm not a very liked guy in the crypto space. That's okay. I'm liked by enough. I'm liked by the right people. How about that? I'm liked by the right people who want to do good. I'm hated by the ones who want the easy money. The ones who really want to make the real money and do it the proper way. They love me. But the ones who want the easy money, they can't stand me. What do you mean we're not going to make 600% today, god damn it? Oh, sorry, gosh darn it. Hope Botanicals. And thanks for being Tom Zone for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Mr. and Mrs. Stott, I hope you're having a great weekend, and thanks for being in Tom Zone 6+ months with the XP Predictor. CFD Adam, thank you so much for being in Tom Zone for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Says, hey Tom, are we waiting for it to get above resistance to buy back in? I'm just waiting for the pattern to set up. Not necessarily above resistance. I want to see if it comes down to $1.35, or I want to see if that $1.40 ends up being a support. Otherwise, you're just in the middle. We're kind of caught in the middle for XRP, just like a lot of the other ones. We're also trying to see if Bitcoin, because it broke out so early, it's supposed to, you really want to see it break out at 70, out at about 45% of the move, which is never usually a great sign. However, if it can hold this structure as low as even 69,600 by mid to late week, the technical move would be 77K. Now, if it's going to hold it, probably would hold it before midweek and we'd have a volatile spike going into Monday. But it's just something that we'll continue to watch. Jim Carrey voice, I like you a lot. I love it. I love it. God will provide and you are a blessing. Oh, I know that. I only get what I can handle. And you know what my biggest weakness is not being hard on myself. That's my biggest weakness in life. I'm way too hard and critical on myself in all phases. And I'm open and honest to that. Julie tells me it all the time, too. I'm way too hard on yourself. I need to look at it a different way. There's 82 beautiful people in here that are sticking around. There's 49,700 plus people that have, by some miracle, found this channel and stuck around and gave me a chance enough to prove myself. You know, those are positives. You don't want to look at it the way I do. Oh, 30 people left. Big deal. 82 stuck around. See how we do? See how we can do that? William Hayes, thanks for the $10 super chat, as well as being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Thank you so much for that vote of confidence, honestly. But that's the point, you know, we can spin it however we want. Our minds are a wild place. So, I get such a thrill coming in here every single day. It's such an honor to have all of you in here. It really is. I'll leave a legacy for decades to come, even when I'm not around, just based on what's on my digital footprint. People are going to be able to go back one day and be like, hey, he tried his ass off. He really tried. He really, really tried and gave it everything he had. And that, just like in sports, I'd give it everything I have. In real life, I give it everything I got. And in this community, I give you everything I got every day. I'm even trying to do a 12 to 13 minute update now every day. I did it yesterday at least, because there's a lot, even like Nick, that are at work a lot that just can't be here during the live. So I want to reach that audience as well. That video only got like 700 views, but again, only 700 views, or 700 people took the time to watch it. You know, you can spin it however you want. I want to look at it as 700 people took the time out of their busy day on a Friday to watch that update, and it was 13 minutes long. That's a positive. That's a positive. 1970 Legend says, I drive a Lexus. It's 500 now, and my wife has a BMW X50. Oh, we got some styling and profilers in the audience, eh? I drive my walking feet because I can't see good enough to drive anymore because I have keratoconus. But I love those cars, personally. Those are beautiful cars. Until they start breaking down, you know. But if you can work on them, like Mr. Stott said, well, I mean, or if you have the funds to fix them, you know, all the same. All the same. Beetle, so tired. You know, it's 3 weeks. I'm going insane. I'd give you everything I got for a little peace of mind. Give you everything I've got for a little peace of mind. How awesome is that, Carl? That actually fits really well. Is it going up or down? That is the question, my friend. E2. It all depends. Can Bitcoin hold this breakout of the symmetrical triangle at only about 45% of the move and not down here at 70? And can it hold at least 69,800 like it has so far and push up to 77? That's the big question to watch. If it falls back within, we'll break down initially. And then for XRP, the best thing I can show you for that question is we can't look at the futures yet because the futures isn't doing this mind-numbing up and down over the weekend, but it did create a little symmetrical triangle after the breakout of the descending wedge. So that's what I would watch there as I'm walking out the door. As you guys know, it's been an hour. I got to walk out the door. I got family stuff to do. And then for XRP, this little symmetrical triangle outside of the futures chart, you're looking to see if $1.35 can hold. At worst, $1.34. Otherwise, you're down to about $1.23 to $1.25 range. And then we know the technical target is still 86.6 cents until we can break that symmetrical triangle or the descending triangle at $1.56. With that, have a blessed day. Thank you so much, Big Dog, for the 99-cent super chat on the way out. I really appreciate that. Oh, the futures is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's the XRP futures chart. It's on the CME. So it's on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. I call it Mercantile, but some people are called the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. But it's the CME. That's just the CME. It's the futures chart. But that closes on Friday. Friday evening, and it doesn't open until Sunday evening, so you don't get any trading. But this is the official chart. That's what I like to look at. It takes away all the nonsensical movements, and it gives you a real defined order. So, and you know, for this, for point of contention, you really could look at it like this because we want to look at it from the breakout point and on. So if we want to be honest with ourselves, you don't go as far back on this because it didn't happen until the breakout. And then it created the symmetrical triangle on the top parts of that descending wedge attempted breakout. So I hope that helps.